Good evening and welcome to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, but it is a power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the Socialist. So glad to have you all in the hizzy tonight. Okay, let me get rid of that. I tell you, it is the way that things have been going today, but I'm glad things will go right from this moment on. Mary Brockman's in our chat room. This particular Ken's in his canary suit. Yes, I am. Picked out by yours truly, Mrs. Biggs. Ladies and gentlemen, uh, listen, there is so much going on in the world today, but one of the most important things that has to take place is transforming America. Yes, America was transformed in 2007 with the election of a born again socialist, Marxist, Barack Hussein Obama, who came to the helm of Democrat power in the House and Senate, and they rearranged everything that made us America. Instituting social justice, instituting debt beyond compare. I mean, a doubling down of our national debt, socialized medicine, no jobs, and most importantly, attempting to destroy Christianity at the behest of Mohammedanism. Yes, America has been transformed. And while you might think a very powerful, wealthy man in the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, is enough to sustain us and change us, it isn't, ladies and gentlemen. There is a lot of work to be done, and I must advise you that the work must begin in the house first. And in the house, what I refer to is the house of God. We're going to have with us Pastor Travis Witt tonight, who is with Transformation America. And we're going to talk about what it's going to take to get America in right stead, in right fashion, to where we need to be. I also want to let you all know that this is the last formal week of the Exceptional Conservative Show as you have gotten used to it. I will be making some changes officially for next week in preparation for us to move towards TECN.TV. So I just want to make you all aware that there are changes coming forth. They're not done to slight anybody, but ladies and gentlemen, if you've known me over the years, and many of you have, one of the good things that you can always rest assured is that Ken is an ever-changing man, always following God at the best that he can be. And so we will be making some transitions, some changes next week. I hope that you all enjoyed Randy and April last night on their debut, and also Lacey on her debut yesterday. Randy and April will be back on Friday at 11:05 p.m. And Lacey will be back tomorrow afternoon at 4:05 p.m. In the dry time, 3:05 p.m. Central Time. So we are certainly, Mary, you definitely will. You're going to get into the new format. It's going to be great. Absolutely wonderful. But I am so looking forward to the new, if there is such a thing. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how we get this party started. There, it will remain. This thing will remain the same. Our kids will lead us always in the Pledge of Allegiance of the United States. What you can do is put your right hand over your heart to pledge allegiance. For those of us following on Ustream, flag right beside us, right here. Okay, you can't miss this one. And for those who are following us, well, unfortunately, live stream is down, so you won't be able to follow us via live stream. And I will be saying goodbye to live stream also later on this summer. But we have a very big flag as well in here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank the good people of Red Nation Rising for carrying us at 2 a.m. on the Liberty Channel as well. I want to thank the very good people at SHR Media and High Plains Pundit for carrying us live as well. Kids, take it away. Again, take off all your hats, right hand over your heart, find a flag, and pledge allegiance to it. Make it the American flag this time, will you? Oh, there you go. That's the way you should start off every program. I don't know. That's just me. Ladies and gentlemen, national spokesman for America, for Transformation America, Mr. Travis Witt will be with us momentarily. And at 18 minutes, 17 minutes after the hour, I believe, we're going to take a quick break and come right back. Let's see. Let's get in contact with. Hopefully the sound is much better this particular evening. We're working on everything in preparation for the changes to come. Good evening. All right. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. We are awaiting Travis Witt, the national spokesman for Transformation America. Good evening, Mr. Witt, Pastor Witt.
Well, good evening, sir. Are you hearing me loud and clear?
I am hearing you loudly and very clearly. I am so glad that you are on the air with us. And I just want to tell you how much joy I had meeting you at the Watchmen of the Wall event here in Washington, D.C. last week.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate being there. It's always a pleasure to rub elbows with individuals that are in the fight, and then to maybe glean from, and then hopefully pass out a little bit of information to others so that our fight can be more strategic, and our fight and our battle can be more synergistic in regards to so many people doing so many different things. Bringing it together really helps out a lot, and I'm thankful for Family Research Council and their Watchmen on the Wall project last weekend. Excellent.
Well, listen, it was a great honor and privilege being there, and we do thank the Family Research Council for their steadfast work on this. And you were one of the great people I meet, and I told you immediately when I met you that I wanted you to definitely be on my program this week. Pastor Travis E. Witt happens to be the national coordinator for AmericaTransformationCompany.com. AmericaTransformationCompany.com. And what he did was he gave me this little card. Now most people give you a business card or whatever. This was his business card, an appeal to heaven. Pastor, why did you hand me this card?
Well, it was one of those things, again, that for me, I love American history. And one of the things that I think we need to recognize is just how much the founding fathers relied on and depended upon divine providence, or as we understand it, Almighty God. And actually, the flag, it's actually the very first flag of the Navy that would have been in the Continental Congress, because we didn't actually have the United States Navy until after we had created some of the other articles of Constitution, those sorts of things. But in regards to the very first flag that we used to fly on the individuals that were part of the Continental Navy, was a flag that had a pine tree on it, and over top of it, it says "An appeal to heaven." So George Washington and many of his colonels and leaders and actual militia were appealing to heaven, because we knew that the battle was going to be difficult against the strongest, most formidable foe in all the world at the time. And as I was sharing, he put a pine tree on there that probably for many at that particular time would have remembered what the British did 20 to 30 years before. They came into America, went 5 miles into the shore, from the shoreline of the tributaries and rivers that flowed on the eastern shore of the United States, and they marked every tree that was more than 250 feet tall and claimed them for the masts of the big ships in England that they were building because they were running out of masts. And at the time, our colonists were saying, oh, wait a minute, but that's on my property, and I don't think that's going to be something that you can claim for the crown. So they marked an arrow on the tree, and it's called the Brawn Arrow Act. And one of those precursors to the Revolutionary War was really about property rights. So I believe George Washington put that pine tree right on that flag, appealing to heaven, but also saying to the British, we know what this is all about. This is about what you did 20, 30 years, in addition to other things. But we will take our little small ships, route them right up next to your big mast ships, and we will pillage and destroy and blow them up. So I believe it was more of a in-your-face flag of the Navy, but it was also, look, God, we know that the only way we're going to win this battle is if we're appealing to heaven. And I use it today because I believe we have to appeal to heaven to see any battles won in this nation. The church and Christians are going to have to be appealing to God.
Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk with Pastor Travis Witt about the transformation that has to take place. A lot of people are under the surmise that Donald Trump can do in 180 days what Obama and the Democrats and most of Americans have done in the past 8. It doesn't work that way. Transformation is strategic, and we're going to talk about the strategery of transforming America. You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We will be right back right after these messages.
Hi, my name is Willie Lawson of the Willie Lawson Show here on the Exceptional Conservative Network, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. They told me that I needed to be humble, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I decided to be awesome instead. That's the Willie Lawson Show, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. here on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
From day's first light till night's last glimmer, your satisfaction is our responsibility. On the range or in the field of duty, you can rely on Brownell's lifetime guaranteed gun parts, tools, and supplies. Anytime, any place. It's how we've done business since 1939. Brownell's.
It's a love story like no other. From God's heart to yours. And for 30 years, it's been at the heart of every book, Bible, CD, gift, and resource from ChristianBook.com. Over 500,000 products, always at the very best value. ChristianBook.com. Everything Christian. Because it's our story too.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital on the Exceptional Conservative Network. We are blessed this particular evening with Pastor Travis Witt, who is a part of AmericaTransformationCompany.com. AmericaTransformationCompany.com. Had a wonderful conversation with him at Watchman on the Wall, and I am so blessed to have him here tonight. Let me play devil's advocate here to coin a phrase per se. America is strong. We are the greatest nation on the face of the earth. We are literally without competition of any friend or foe, with our military, with our economy, with our debt, with our strength. Whom could possibly challenge us? So, and based on that analysis, how is it essential that there be a transformation in America, Pastor?
Well, I think that's an incredibly excellent question. And the matter is, what happens to the heart of individuals when we look at where America has come from and where we were headed? Certainly the communists realized that the best way to destroy America was from within, not from without. yeah, we may be strong as we look out towards what the other parts of the world believe, but what's the strength really of this nation? Why do we say in God we trust? Why do we say one nation under God when we have walked away from even remotely believing? Most and most have walked away now. They may believe in God, but do they spend time reading His Word? Do they spend time in prayer? Do they spend time actually calling people to a place where we have to return to Almighty God? Because as we look at this, the moral fabric of this nation is certainly suffering, because the church now and Christians are accepting all sorts of evil, very similar to Isaiah's comment in 5:20, I believe, where it says, "Woe be it unto you if you call evil good and good evil, light darkness and darkness light." And that's where we are today. We are choosing to walk away from the God of creation, the God who established this country through the Pilgrims' involvement in New England. And where are we today? We are looking at wanting to, as a Christian, moving us back to a place where at least some kind of common decency and moral applications of truth are applied across the world and across our nation. And so, yeah, outside of the world, we are the strongest. Inside, where we see the need for a foundational truth based on biblical truth, we're slipping. And that slipping doesn't mean we have to be conquered by an outside enemy. We certainly can find ourselves slipping from the inside because we're choosing not to shore up the foundations of this nation.
Well, I tell you what, Pastor, we know what needs to be done. Let's get it done tomorrow. Come on, let's just roll out there, and everybody will line up, and we will get it right. Right? Is that how it works?
What planet did you drop America on? Give me I have been working with so many pastors trying to get them to even realize the need for consistency and truth and integrity, and getting individuals to recognize that it's going to take a long-term effect. I mean, when you look at where we are today, we're here because of something that happened in 1859. We're here today because of certain things that happened in the 60s. I mean, we have seen a trend of 150 years that now we are looking at as being the pinnacle of all the craziness that we have drifted away from the Word of God. So if we think for a moment it's going to happen over a day, we have to have a long-term strategy, a multi-generational, multicultural, multi-decade strategy that we're thinking about our children and our grandchildren's future, and then recognizing if we're going to change our children and our grandchildren's future, we've got to start with some strategic, goal-oriented steps, baby steps, so to speak, that we can begin to do on a regular basis on a local level, that 3, 6, 9, 12 months from now, we begin to see some changes, and even to the point, Ken, of taking it to the next level, where if we actively do these things for the next 2.5 to 3 years, we'll start seeing significant changes in our local communities, in our counties, and in our cities, and then hopefully that will transpire into a reality that we are affecting the church and the nation as well, because it's not about government. It's about individuals coming together and saying we stand on principles, because politics calls us to argue, politicians will cause us to argue, and personalities will cause us to argue. But I believe we can find some core principles that we can all agree upon.
Exactly. Pastor Travis Witt, America Transformation Company. Listen, you're thinking like a progressive. You're thinking like one of those Marxist socialists out there talking about like long-term strategy approach. You're not thinking like a conservative who wants it done tomorrow, and if it's not done tomorrow, we give up.
Well, you're right. You're absolutely right. But what did the Word of God? What does the Word of God in the Old Testament talk about? Generations. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He was the God of 3 generations. So if I think He's just the God of Travis Witt, then maybe I really ought to think about that He was the God of my father and He's the God of my son. And when I start thinking that way, I begin to realize that things don't happen overnight. Sure, God can come in and completely restore this nation. He did it with the nation of Israel between the time of moving out of Egypt and into the Promised Land. However, I don't believe that he's going to be the God of doing that, because remember, he sent Christ to show us how it's done, left us in charge to take back and to live out a life that Christ has given us. And for us to think that it's now all about me and it needs to be done tomorrow, well, if it took 150 years to get us into this place, with God's help, it might take a few less. But quite frankly, if we don't start doing some things, working on 6, 7, 8 issues that we can face right now and begin to deal with, then I think we're missing the mark, because I believe God said to occupy until he shows up, and he's called us to be salt and light in every place we're in.
I love the fact that you refer to occupy, because for a lot of people who sit down and talk with me and say, Ken, we got to compromise, you got to reach across the aisle, you got to make everybody happy. That's not what occupation is about. And you have 5 strategies, and I want you to come back next month, and I want you to talk with us about the last 2. But I want to go over the first 3 to put some taste in those who are salivating for change, true change in America. Sure. You talk about general education of Christians, and I gotta hold your feet to the fire on this one. Listen. We spend billions of dollars a year on public school education. We got enough general education of Christians. Why did things change?
Well, yeah, you're right. We have got a government school system that has now created problems teaching values and truth. Remember, 23 states in America are not even required to teach any American history to any student, K through 12, if it happened pre-1877. Now, that's absolutely nuts. So no Plymouth Colony, no Constitution, no Declaration of Independence, not even the war between states. We stopped at 1877 in certain states. And you've got to recognize that those who fail to understand history are destined to repeat it. So where we are right now when it comes to general education, we may have general education, but if we're to look at this scenario, let's talk about the general education that's lacking right now with 8th graders. When I was in the 8th grade, I studied logic, I studied economics, and I studied American history from a biblical perspective. But why isn't the church stepping up and teaching those things that the school has been incredibly deficient about? You know, see, Johnny may not be able to read, but he certainly does feel good about himself. Well, this was never about making individuals feel good about themselves. It was about getting to a place where common knowledge prepared individuals for a station later in life. And in the 8th and 9th grade, if we're not teaching individuals how to balance a checkbook or even understand the reality that money isn't printed and made even more, and if we're not focusing in on how to argue effectively, even how to think. We don't think today, we feel. And so if we can't think and we only feel, then we have the ability to shift from one thing to another, and we're not grounded in a logical understanding of truth. And finally, American history. With the God of creation very actively involved in American history, we've decided that since God is no longer allowed in the government schools, then how in the world can you teach American history when most of the founders were individuals that understood or relied on heavily on divine providence or the God of the Word?
You know, a lot of African American, colored, Negro, Black people tell me that slavery destroyed us. We could not possibly learn, but very few people understand and believe that during the period of Booker T. Washington, which is what happened after 1877, African American, Negro, and Blacks who were educated were reading the Greek and the Hebrew Bibles from the Greek and the Hebrew. So our institutions, our culturally educated institutions, have done a wonderful job dumbing down Americans and dumbing down Christians. And I want you to speak to that for a moment, of why Christians gave up the Bible for the government book.
Well, it was a pattern, it was a trend, and it really kind of started off, with 1859 and Charles Darwin. And Charles Darwin, when he wrote The Origin of Species, then the reality was So well, maybe there is not a God that I have to bow my knee to. Maybe there is no God, and I can become the God of whoever I want to. And over the last 150 years, you've seen the transition. But what happened in the 60s when individuals decided that you couldn't pray, that you couldn't read your word, that the Bible can no longer be used as a history textbook, then the Bible was completely thrown out of schools. And look at what the government system has done. They have made it incredibly difficult now for anyone not to take advantage of the government school system. And remember, one of the Communist manifestos from 1848
Yes.
was specifically saying, look, a free public school education should be guaranteed for all. And you see, that's an indoctrination camp as I see it, because it's indoctrinating people to believe things that are not true, or not giving individuals the opportunity to hear both sides. When you walk onto a college campus today, can you talk about the Bible? No, that's totally and completely not allowed. But can you talk about communism? Can you talk about Islam? Can you talk about all the other things that you can talk about? Yes, they're tolerant of everybody but individuals who are biblical, and then they become automatically the most horribly intolerant individuals to people who believe in the Word of God, that the Word of God is inerrant, that the Word of God is true, that the Word of God is something that I take seriously from cover to cover.
Exactly.
That's where our society has said, no, you're not going to do that.
Exactly. And so here's a follow-up question to that. Because if you don't mind, I'm going to ask that you hang on. I know I told you 20 minutes, but this is a passion of mine, and I really think America needs to hear what's going to need to take place there as a transformation. And I'll touch on the other 2 points when we come back from the break at 45 minutes after the hour, when we go to break at 40 minutes after the hour. And if you could hang on with us and talk about those. But here's the follow-up question. You and I both know how deficient our educational system is, and how totalitarian it has become and tyrannical it has become, teaching our children not to think, but what to think. Why haven't the churches created schools that are competitive against those particular institutions? And why haven't the disciples of Jesus Christ taken their children to those schools?
You ask. You see, you and I could make $1 million if we could come up with an answer that gives reason for that. But unfortunately, the church has been very focused on programs and personalities. And you've got to realize that if any large church in America today recognize that quite a few individuals within their local congregation are dependent upon the government school system. So when you start standing up against the formidable foe, and remember, 65 to 70% of the budget of many counties goes directly into the educational system. I wouldn't mind giving that kind of money if they were producing a decent product, but they have made it so that the competition is going to be eliminated. In Virginia, you can't start a charter school in Virginia unless you get permission from the Board of Supervisors, the school board, and the school board are in the pockets of the teachers unions, and the teachers unions aren't about to allow competition for their tenured teachers. So the reason is it takes a lot of effort and energy, and I think a real big part of that, Ken, is the sad state of affairs in the pulpit from individuals who believe that the public school system is just an incredibly good benefit to the church. Well, if it's doing such a good job, why are more and more people walking away from the church, more and more people walking away from believing in the God of the Bible? And really, it's a laziness or an apathy, or quite frankly, I wish I could, but I can't. When you look at 60% of the population in America can't come up with $2,000 in an emergency fund, how in the world are they going to afford an education? And the struggle is the church has spent all of its money on facilities and programs that it doesn't have enough money left over to start taking care of the needs of its own children.
Well, I want you to know those schools look good at it. I mean, those churches look real good at it. As much as they spend.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
We are talking tonight with Pastor Travis Witt. And I'm going to encourage you all tonight to find a way, get this book, Christ's Strategy to Disciple Nations. Christ's Strategy to Disciple Nations. I want you to get it. I want you to, while it's in the chat roll, the Euro Pacific Bank Limited TECN chat room at theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. I want you to tweet it out. I want you to also Facebook it out while we're talking with Pastor Travis Witt. And the very reason is that we have lost Matthew 28:18 through 20 a long time ago. And there's some pastors who show up on some of the best Christian cable channels, and they can raise money and they can touch a TV screen and you fall out all over the floor. But the bottom line is our kids are suffering in these schools. They are growing up to refute God and to walk away from God. And when you come back next month, I want to talk with you about divorce and everything else and marriage, and how we have allowed the left, the Marxists, the socialists, to take from us what God gave us in terms of freedom.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you this real quick question and set up for you coming back in the next segment, if you would, and bear with me. And I do apologize for bringing you on for too long if you have too little time. But I want to go to the idea of training for leaders, because everybody talks about a leadership program, but our church needs a leadership program. And I've seen program after program after program, and I ain't seen no results. And that's just me. Maybe I'm just, too harsh. Am I too harsh here?
Well, if we take a look at the current leaders that are serving in churches, or the current leaders that are supposedly serving the Christian population, where are they? I don't see them. We have not expected a pattern of right behavior. And again, if we look at the Jewish model, you were a servant until you were 30, and that prepared you to lead. We seem to think that I know everything now at 18, and since I know everything at 18, I ought to be getting $100,000 salary to set on my keister and tell everybody else how much I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not laughing at you. What I'm telling you is that what God has put together, and Pastor Travis Witt, I am so glad he's here with us tonight, because transformation didn't just happen with Obama. This has been a long time coming.
Amen.
And the unfortunate thing is, many a hand that has dipped its bread into the wine with Jesus has betrayed us by taking on the hostilities of the Marxist socialists and others who have transformed America. And we can do it. We can transform it back, but it's going to take some heart and some soul and some stepping on toes. When we come back from the break, 45 minutes out to the hour, I want to thank the great people at SHR Media Live for carrying us, HP Pundit Media and all the others for carrying us live, and Red Nation Rising 2 a.m. on the Liberty Channel, and as well Ustream. When we come back, I want to talk with Pastor Travis Witt about the whole concept of the third step, and that's training network teams. We need them. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
My name is Christopher Arnold. I'm the executive chef of Infused Restaurant, and today I'm going to walk you through some of the meals that we prepare here. So we're making a pizza. We use fresh Italian sausage that we cook here and slice it up. Our pizza dough is in-house made. Our pizza sauce is in-house made. So everything is fresh and ingredients. This is our Thai curry chicken. The sauce is made with coconut milk and a Thai red curry. It is juicy chicken thighs as well as some mixed vegetables, served with jasmine rice and pita bread. So now we're going to prepare our famous blackened tilapia and grits. Our fish and grits on the menu. The fish is ready, and our meal will be complete. Let me tell you about our infused beef burgers. When we kick the spice up just a little bit with our infused sauce. We start off with 80-20 USDA round chuck ham patty burgers, like half a pound of burger, and we're gonna grill it to perfection. After I flip the burger, we add the sauce and let it cook on into the meat just a little bit. We're gonna add a little bit of pepper jack cheese to this burger to spice it up a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, 6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland is the place to be. 6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland. Make certain that you make your way there this week for good food, good atmosphere, and a good time.
I'm Kevin Clinton, chairman of the Exceptional Conservative Network. Never has the cry for economic liberty been more resounding in urban America than on Election Day 2016. It's the economy. All real change begins with the American entrepreneur. Socialism did not work. Progressivism stole the wealth of individuals and families. You voted for something different, real change. But what does real change look and sound like? It looks like Las Vegas, and it sounds like Freedom Fest 10. Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds, is the popular Liberty-Minded Conference at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas from July 19th to the 22nd. Hear the voices of the urban freedom movement: Denise Borelli, Larry Elder, Gina Lofton, Helen Riley, Ramesh Wadhwa, and Zayad Abdul-Nawab. Share ideas with powerful, liberty-minded figures like Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Peter Schiff, and keynote speaker William Shatner. Your money, your liberty, your freedom, your city. Come for the real and return with the change. Register now at freedomfest.com. That's freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all caps code TECN. We'll see you there.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for tuning in tonight to the Exceptional Conservative Show. We unfortunately lost Pastor Travis Witt, and we will do our very best to get him back on in the coming month. I am telling you that you need to be at the America Transformation Company, and simply put, this didn't happen overnight, and the transformation isn't going to happen overnight. We have forgotten our roles and our purposes in this nation. Dave says Facebook sucks up bandwidth like Roseanne Barr held in all you can eat buffet. You're absolutely right on that, bad boy. And I want you all to make certain that you all get in contact with Pastor Travis Witt. They are doing a marvelous job he as the national coordinator, and also Pastor Dr. Mark Belials, who is president of that organization. They're doing a wonderful job bringing to light the fact that this didn't happen overnight. It's not going to be solved, because I want to be very frank with you all, or be very kin with you all, however way you wish to call me, if you're into that kind of thing. But I know that there are lots of people that thought that Donald Trump gets elected and then tomorrow things change. Okay, tomorrow things don't change. We'll give it 60 to 90 days. First 100 days. And what you are finding out is that those whose purposes are to maintain the status quo towards our death and our destruction as a nation, it's how do I put this? It's kind of like, I don't want to use this analogy, but it's very true. It is difficult getting rid of roaches once you have them. If you can get the first one, okay, great. But if you don't get the first one, it is difficult to get rid of roaches. And you think that they only come out at night, but they only come out at night when they are in a small guerrilla warfare mentality. Once they have assembled a mighty force, roaches don't care about what time of day they come out. You say, well, Ken, that's not true. I mean, you turn the lights on and then they run. Well, no, not all. You see, once the roaches have gotten used to you and what you've been going through, quite frankly, they have no concern whatsoever. We're going to try to get Pastor Travis Witt back on.
Hello.
Good evening, Pastor Witt.
Yeah, I don't know if somebody heard our phone call and didn't like my conversation, just cut me off.
Just cut you. That's what I'm trying to explain to people, that what we are facing are the roaches that have been built up in the kitchen. When it was just a few of them, when it's just a few of them and the lights go on, of course they run. But once they have a mighty army, they could care less whether you turn those lights on or off. They are occupying, they are encamped, and they are there to destroy that which you have provided. And literally, there are those who are maybe like me and others who have been isolated, who feel that, you know what, the struggle's too much for me. I might as well give up. I might as well give in, because I'm all by myself. And some of us like to be in that parade all by ourselves. I'm by myself and I'm putting medals on to tell you that I'm all by myself. Is that the useful approach to dealing with change in America?
Well, there's what I call, unfortunately, too many Lone Rangers.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Lone Rangers are not connected, not under authority. And the best way to have authority is to be under it. And so what has to happen is there has to be a strategic move within local cities, local counties, local communities that stop and say enough is enough. Now, how are we going to change culture? And when you think about what culture is all about, culture is directly a direct reflection of believers and unbelievers' actions. So directly under believers and unbelievers is culture. And if you take out believers from culture, then unbelievers will control culture. And when unbelievers control culture, you got a mess in everything. So when you're looking at strategically changing culture, you have to look at the reality. And I look at it as I know many people have probably heard this, Ken, the 7 mountains of influence, of cultural influence. And we've chosen to do it with the ABCs, arts and media, business, the church, doctors or medicine, education, family, and government. So you have the ABCs. And when you think about that, if we're not creating leaders to influence all 7 areas of those cultures. So yeah, I mean, we got a lot of people going to Christian schools. We've got a lot of people doing this, but but Hollywood is perverting and promoting perversion, and because we have the TV on all the time, because that's now the new babysitter, and it's always been the babysitter for a long period of time. We're now accepting the godless directives of Hollywood, the godless directives of a media, the news that is that unfortunately no longer New York Times. New York Times, what was all the news that's fit to be print? Well, most of what they're printing right now is not even, it's unfit to be print.
Exactly.
So we're in a cataclysmic area, and if we don't stop and recognize that the church needs to be influencing all the things that influence culture, we're going to miss the mark. Well, let's just fix government. Well, hey, we might fix government, but if you don't fix the education system, in another 8 years, you're graduating 18 million individuals that have a clue of what conservative truth means, and will then become the social knuckleheads that are unable to make wise decisions because they were not taught logically. And so what are they going to do? I heard somebody say it this way, Ken. The Democrat Party is passing out lollipops, and the Republican Party is trying to get people to eat their vegetables. Never work.
Listen,
Come on.
I know, Pastor Witt. Listen, I got to ask you this question because I'm going to have you come back next month, and I want Dr. Belials as well to come back on our program, to come on our program next month, because I think this is the most valuable thing that we could be talking about during the summer, as everyone's trying to go to the beach and everything. Transformation. But I want to get from you a definition here. Because there are people who are listening to you tonight and saying, well, I go to church every week. And I'm a part of a church, and I'm on a committee. That's a subcommittee of another committee. And so we be doing stuff. And so I want to ask you, sir, exactly, how do you define a church? How do you define a disciple? And how do you know that each are affecting our culture well?
Now you want me to do a little meddling, don't you?
Yes, I did.
Absolutely, go for it. A church is any group of believers who are who are learning how to strategically influence culture. A disciple is one who has spent time with the leaders of a church, and I'm not just talking about 4 or 5 hours a week, which might be a majority of time, which might be a large time. I'm talking about somebody that is actively reading and studying on a daily or on a weekly basis to become more like a disciple. And I guess the person that would look more like a disciple of Christ is one where when you look at him, you recognize his whole purpose is to learn how to serve others. And you see, if the church can ever become a place where people learn how to serve others, then the church becomes a place where our words have the ability to speak into others' lives. And see, the Bible holds the answers to all of America's problems, but the church has not done a good job of trying to explain to the world why you need to be, you got people saying, well, why would I want to join the church when you guys look a whole lot like the world looks? So what's the difference? I've got Sunday morning to use doing something else. Why would I need to waste my time hanging out with a bunch of individuals who don't look any different from me or act any different from me? What's that about?
Exactly. Pastor Travis Witt, I thank you so much for coming on tonight and talking with America in real terms. What America's transformation will have to go through, and just the initial things. And we know that it's a long-term thing. How can people get in contact with you, Pastor, the national spokesman for America Transformation Company? How do people get in contact with you? How do they get the book regarding transformation itself?
The book is available from AmericaTransformationCompany.com. That's all spelled out. And if individuals want to contact me or talk to me more about this, they can contact me at Travis Witt, TravisWitt @USA.com.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably the best way to get in touch with me.
All right, so that's Travis Witt, TRAVISWITT at USA.com. And we're going to put that out there. People need to get in contact with you. They really do, sir.
Love to talk to them.
Oh,
Absolutely.
we need transformation. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, sir.
Ken, it's been a privilege, and let me know when we can do it again. I've thoroughly enjoyed our time to talk.
Thank you.
Blessings to you, sir, and your listeners. God bless you all.
God bless you, sir. Pastor Travis Witt, I am telling you what an enjoyable hour this first hour has been. I want to thank the great people at Red Nation Rising for taking us on. We're going to come back right after this break and get you prepared for the second hour with Janis Hall, the J Hall World Report. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. That's Washington, D.C., to you and me.
Featuring right thinking from the left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
You and I know that American business is built on long nights, hard work, and many sacrifices. We dream of the opportunity of advertising our ideas and products, but our budgets will not allow. What entrepreneur can afford commercial TV advertising rates in urban America? Now you can. Why? It's the spirit of 76. The Exceptional Conservative Network shows and hosts reach more than 250,000 consumers monthly on major partner broadcast networks. Since April 2016, our TECN and TECN.biz websites have over 220,000 visits. We are the alternative media solution for consumers. So what's the bottom line for you? We take your small business message and products into the urban marketplaces, bypassing the corporate media monopolies. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On Sunday, July 2nd, 2017, TECN.TV with InItLive.tv and MOUtoday.tv will broadcast live via internet television around the world to over 100,000 free and premium channel subscribers daily. We will also campaign to add over 250,000 alternative media subscribers to our live premium channel network from the 250 major U.S. metropolitan cities. With a devoted international audience and over 1 billion impressions of online advertising per month, our internet broadcasting venue offers a tremendous marketing opportunity for sponsors and advertisers. TECN's broadcasts and websites put you in front of the kitchen table decision makers of America. Contact TECN.TV President Kim McClinton, 202-660-1329, extension 0, or Kim McClinton at TECN.biz, and discover how $76 per month for 6 months can make you a competitive business in urban America. Now, this offer is available for a limited time. After July 1, 2017, our advertising and sponsor rates will increase dramatically. Take advantage of this opportunity for life, liberty, and the pursuit of business success. Contact us today.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back. We're already into the second half of the Exceptional Conservative Show. I apologize, but I just had a wonderful time talking with Pastor Travis Witt. And I know some people were wagging their finger at me. You're supposed to be the chairman. You're supposed to be the one doing the network thing. If you don't do the stuff on time, nobody else will. And you're absolutely right. So there will be changes coming, I assure you. But I am certainly thankful for the opportunity of being blessed and also blessing you with a wonderful conversation with Travis Witt. And I want you all to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that it took a few people to believe in an appeal to heaven that they could take back our country. And they did it. It's only going to take a few of you to do that too. Stop waiting for the gravy train of media to come to you and say, it's going to be done. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right. Don't worry about it. No. Mm-mm. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, from our break, we'll be speaking with Janis Hall, J Hall World Report. And then I want to spend a good portion of this evening talking with you all. I need to prepare you all for some things that are coming. I want you to know that the stuff that I do doesn't make me the most loved person on the face of the earth, but I hopefully make you the most informed person on the face of the earth. And I want you to know that I am more committed than ever before to making great things possible, because I believe in a God who made the impossible possible. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with more of the best right after these messages.
Begin your mornings the right way with some right thinking from me, Perry Drake, your friendly neighborhood drive-by pundit. I want you to join me every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern and 9 a.m. Central Time on the Exceptional Conservative Network. From politics to pop culture to relationships to whatever else is on your mind, we have a great deal to talk about. Join in and let's get the talking started.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy, because the truth is not always pleasant. From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Good morning.
I'm Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Okay, folks, that's not how it goes. I think I'm Shannon and
I
you're
think so.
Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. We are The Right Way with Shannon and Mike.
Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Live on SHR Media.
And on TECN.
Where we'll be talking about all kinds of things.
From sports and politics.
To food and entertainment.
To money.
Family.
And anything else in between.
Community, holidays, all kinds of things.
It'll be great. Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our Gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We certainly are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, because we just say, no, we're not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, because it is a power of liberation, first to the Republicans and then the socialists. So glad to have you here. Glad to have the beautiful and the vivacious Claudia Cheek in our chat room, beautiful as she ever is. And of course, the very lovely Mary Brockman, who is my bouncer in chief. If you diss her, you diss me, and you will be dismissed from the program. I am letting you all know, without a shadow of a doubt, that there are some people who just can't get over the Russia thing. And I want to say to you that there is one Democrat who has had enough. And now I want you all to know, I am not a fan of the Democrats at all. In fact, I think they are the greatest threat, without a shadow of a doubt, to national security than anyone can possibly imagine. But there was a Democrat who was talking about jobs, and who made it abundantly clear that the people in her district of Wisconsin are not concerned so much about Russia. They're not into the whole concept of who has a back channel or back door, or who's basically getting advanced information and stuff. They don't care about that in Wisconsin. The Democrat, the woman who was a Democrat, and she was on MSNBC, she made it abundantly clear. I don't care, and neither do my people. What my people care about are jobs being created, because they're tired of being unemployed. They're tired of being on welfare. They're tired of being on, that she didn't say all that, but I'm relating to you. If you don't have a job, okay, it doesn't matter what's happening in Baghdad to you. And for all those little idiots who are running around in the 495, 695, 295 corridor talking about if we just made certain that people in the Middle East had jobs, then they would stop being terrorists, you need to be slapped upside your head with some real big common sense. You need a whole clubbing of common sense. Osama bin Laden was one of the wealthiest men in the world. Do you really think, in the midst of his poverty, that he was thinking, you know what, I got it going on, I got a lot of money here, you know, I really don't want to terrorize America? Do you really think it was about that? Really? It's not about jobs over there, but it is about jobs over here for people who don't practice terrorism. When you are dependent on government to take care of your needs and to take care of your family, and you see every single day that the ends don't meet, they never met, and they won't ever meet, all you're thinking about here is, I'm electing people into office who meet my need. You told me that I had 3 kids and I could make it on $695 a month of welfare and $400 of food stamps. And I'm just letting you know, there was more month to my life than there was money. And I appreciate the fact that you give me Medicaid, but if I got to stand in line behind 700 other people for my kid to be seen, what good is a health insurance card? So what the Democrat was saying on MSNBC is, listen, you all are all caught up here in the 695, 495, 295 corridor with the left. See, you make over $100,000, $200,000 a year as a commentator on your network. You can make that kind of luxury. You're all right. But here's my problem. I got to go back home. And when I get off the airport in Milwaukee, and I flew into Milwaukee, not a very lovely airport. And the food's not very good either. But I will tell you, some of the places look pretty nice. If that woman has to get off the airplane in Milwaukee and walk down the street and see houses that are not filled because people can't pay their taxes and they can't pay their mortgage, and they have a choice between paying their mortgage and Obamacare, and they decided this month they're going to pay Obamacare because one of their kids has diabetes and need prescription drugs. If I got to make that choice, then I'm not really focused on your Russia thing. Russia. That's a luxury because there's no crime here either. When was the last time somebody went to jail for talking to the ambassador of Sweden? There's no crime here. There's no there. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just make this abundantly clear to you. Even the Democrats back home are getting it. This is why you need to be finding the most conservative people this summer and prepping them to begin running in September for the next election in next November. You really do. The most conservative people, and I know for a fact that many of you all are sitting back and you're listening to me and you're saying, well, I like my representative. Really? You like your representative that you sent to Washington, D.C. to repeal Obamacare? I don't know where the replace part came in, but to repeal Obamacare, and the best thing they could do is reform it? And you're going to give them a stamp of A to come back to Washington, D.C. in 2 years? Are you kidding me? No, I'm telling you right now, based on that piece of legislation that they sent, that crappy piece of legislation that they sent over from the House, thank you, Paul Ryan. Great job, man. You deserve 2 more years back in Wisconsin, certainly not D.C. Based on that legislation alone, you need to be finding the most conservative person, and in fact, 4 of them, if you can find them, to primary. Yeah, I mean it. I mean, you need to go nuclear. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Illinois. I feel so sorry for you all. I really do. Going almost 2 years without a budget, 2 years of promises. And knowing that your pensions have jumped from like a $25 billion promise 15 years ago to well over 129 billion and no budget, and there's no way you can pay the pensions and also pay for police and also pay for prisons and also pay for education and also, wait a minute, I thought you Democrats were brainiacs and geniuses. You have already figured out the magic formula for everything. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. Because you magic formula living off of other people's wealth, and with all the wealthy people left because of your first wealth tax, and I'm talking to Connecticut too, when they all left, okay, where are you going to get your pot of gold from, huh? Yeah, you're going to get it from the people you redistributed the wealth to, right? Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, just brilliant. I'm just letting y'all know right now. If you're in Illinois and you vote for a Democrat again, you deserve the government you get. You deserve to have your pensions cut. You deserve to have your health care cut. You deserve to have your jobs cut. Why? Because you have created the dynamic by which government on the demand side of politics has uniquely and deficiently impacted the supply side of economics, which is you and me. So I'm just going to let y'all know right now, with all the stuff that's going on, Democrats, ladies and gentlemen, are getting it. The Democrats, they know why they lost. Don't be sitting back at home telling me, oh, they lost because Hillary was cheated and had something to do with Selfridge and had some. Stop it. The Democrats lost because of the economy. The Democrats know we can win because of the economy. If the economy doesn't improve, I'm just letting y'all know, then you need, Mr. and Mrs. Conservative, to hold that liberal thinking Republican that you sent to Washington, D.C. accountable for every single vote that they made. When a Democrat comes on MSNBC and says that Russia is not our number one concern, jobs is our number one concern, and you voted in a president who said I was going to bring you jobs, 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 and you have a Congress, a U.S. House, and a U.S. Senate that's fighting you, and they're Republicans fighting you against jobs, jobs, jobs. I am telling you right now, if you don't send the most conservative people to Washington, D.C. in the next 2 years, I'm letting you know right now, you deserve to lose the House. You deserve to lose the Senate. And you deserve to lose the White House. We'll be right back right after this break with Janis Hall, the J Hall World Report.
Hi there, America. It's Lacey Steigerwald, aka The Raven, and I'm hosting the new show On the Fence, where we discuss perspective above all the noise. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 4 to 6 Eastern, 3 to 5 Central Time for my Central fans. In the first half, we have expert guests who are not only extraordinary Americans, they are ordinary Americans, just like you and me, who want the best for their hometowns and communities at large. Guests like Steve Beeman, financial guru and philanthropist, will join us on Monday. Tuesday, modern day knight in shining armor Cliff Soseman will be with us to tell us all about honor and courage and commitment. Yes, these are real things. And Friday, none other than Trump advisor and member of the Trump transition team, Richard Manning, who heads up Americans for Limited Government. He will be with us to explain the importance of NAFTA. And in the second half, it's just deep tissue analysis. Join us. You won't want to miss it. On the Fence with your host, Lacey Steigerwald.
Hello, this is Leslie Ann Stoffel with The Real Clear Israel. Join me every Sunday morning at 10:05 Eastern Time on the Exceptional Conservative Network, where we'll be discussing Israel with guests from Israel and around the world.
That's The Real Clear Israel, 10:05 Sunday on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
You're listening to the most influential urban conservative talk show in all of the world. Christianity, conservatism, the Constitution, capitalism. We talk about it all right here on the Exceptional Conservative Show at theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. Go there now and join me in chat. We're spreading the good news to the ends of the earth. We'll be back right after these messages.
Tune in on Mondays and Fridays at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to the news. Now Equipped with Wisdom with Randy and April Perm, as they bring you a variety of topics from politics, social issues, and everything in between. Once again, that's Mondays and Fridays, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the news. Now Equipped with Wisdom only on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for tuning in tonight to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We certainly are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism. You know what we got to do. We're going to get in contact with Janis Hall, the J Hall World Report. And ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful woman this person is. Without a shadow of a doubt, a young lady who always seems to be ahead of the ball game when it comes to world news. That's why she's our world news commentator. Good evening.
Hello.
How you doing, young lady?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Just fine. We are so glad to have you in this particular evening on the Exceptional Conservative Show. Janis Hall, the J Hall World Report. Listen, you and I understand that money is important. And we like to keep our money. We like to make our money, and we like to keep our money. But apparently, there are individuals at Goldman Sachs who have decided that there is a risk worth taking that maybe you and I wouldn't take. Uh, would you tell everyone what that risk is?
Yeah, happy to. So, one of the developments in the Venezuela situation is that obviously they're having money problems, right?
Yeah.
We all know this. So, Goldman Sachs has apparently agreed to lend them money. So, yeah, basically Goldman Sachs bought bonds. They think that if they get paid back, it'll be a really good deal, right? Because they were able to buy them very cheaply.
Mm-hmm.
However, moral questions aside, which there are some, do we really think that Goldman Sachs should be involved in propping up essentially what is a dictatorship? But moral questions aside, I don't think that this is a good plan. I think that this is very risky. And I have a feeling that they might not get their money back.
Yeah, because they're giving. Well, not that's we don't want to say giving, although
no,
you know,
they expect to get their money back.
Yeah. So we don't. Yeah. So we're not trying to say that they're giving $830 million away to the Venezuelan government in terms of investments for infrastructure and other things there. And we certainly don't want people who have made those investments to think that we want to tell you how to use your money. Your money, you do what you want with it. You do expect to make $2.5 billion off of that $830 million investment, and that's absolutely wonderful. But can you tell these guys what they may not know? They may not have heard yet regarding Venezuela, Janis?
Well, the fact that it might collapse, I think that's an important point here. So, one of their reasoning apparently is that they think that because Venezuela is in such a disaster at the moment that essentially it can only get better. Well, I mean, truthfully, it can't get a whole lot worse.
It can't get worse.
However, I think it could be a very long time before it gets better. And I would probably say that I think giving money to Maduro is probably just going to draw out the chaos right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how this situation is getting resolved.
Yeah, I don't either. And you have been on this for years, well ahead of everybody else. Now, let us just say that while we chuckle underneath our breath at the concept of the fact that they are going to give $830 million with the expectation of not only 2.3, maybe $2.8 billion of return, because it does look good. It's pennies on the dollars. It really is. It does look very good. And they're going to use that money. Maduro says he's going to use that money for the purposes of building up the country. And it's a lot that has to be built up in that country.
Yep. But I think the thing that we both know, and if you're listening, know, is that just throwing money at a bad system of government doesn't help. If they manage to squander lots and lots of money before, they can squander lots and lots of money now.
Yeah, but Janis, That $830 million is going directly to the projects. It's not going to Maduro, right?
Sure. Well, maybe it's not going to him directly, but you know, I mean, it's sort of to control where it goes.
You and I both know that money's going to Switzerland, some like an account or whatever that's going to be held for when he's ready to leave during the real breakdown. He'll have his retirement fund right there. But this is a comment from Eduardo Lugo. He's a 23-year-old Venezuelan who's attending college in New York. And he was protesting today outside of Goldman Sachs in Lower Manhattan. He says by giving $900 million to a dictatorship, they are funding a systematic human rights violator. They are funding immorality, and for Maduro to stay in power while he keeps killing people. Now, isn't that kind of harsh to making that allegation against Goldman Sachs? That's a really, it's really tough, okay? They're just in the business to make money, right?
Well, that's the moral argument that I said earlier, and yeah, it's technically speaking, they are helping to fund it, and that, I mean, yes, I realize that bankers are interested in making money, and I think that we can both agree that if this is what you want to do, okay, fine. But helping out a dictator who's killing his own people.
But Janis, if your investment advisor came to you today and said, you know what, we're going to take $830 million, because I know you're worth about $4 or $5 billion by yourself. We're going to take $830 million and we're going to send it someplace where we know that we will get a 300% return on our investment. Wouldn't you be cheerleading them? Wouldn't you be saying that's absolutely genius? I want that.
If that was an assured comeback, return, but it's not assured. I mean, there's a thing. There's deals that are too good to be true.
Not with Goldman Sachs. It couldn't possibly happen with Goldman Sachs. It's impossible. They're always going to pick the winners, right?
Of course.
But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to lose some money, you got some money you want to lose, don't send it to Goldman Sachs. Send it to Janis and me. We'll take that money. It may not be invested well, but we will definitely take it. You don't mind someone sending you $800 million, do you?
No. Nope, no problem with
that. But literally, we know that bankers are in the business of making money, but there should be, I don't know, that's not really even a moral question. It's like a common sense question here.
Right. I mean, yes, there are moral issues with it.
Mm-hmm.
That is one element. But really, I think the biggest problem here is that it's just a common sense error. Venezuela didn't get to the way it is now because it just happened to have really, really bad luck. It had some bad luck with oil prices going down. But it also just has a very incompetent system of government. And just putting more money to an incompetent system of government is not going to make that system of government any more competent and able to grow.
Yeah. I just want to ask this question because I think it's a very burgeoning one. If Maduro is married, do you think his wife just went out and bought some new shoes? I'm just asking.
Well, even from what I've been hearing about the Venezuelan elite is that they're just buying shoes anytime they want anyway.
Anyway, thanks for supporting the elite amongst us. Apparently, Goldman Sachs put out this note today. They said they paid 31 cents on the dollar for the bonds. and they mature in October 2022. And they said at that price, the bonds would yield more than 40% compared with their stated coupon of 6%. So I don't know. Maybe these bonds were available during the time of Hitler too. I'm just saying, good time to invest in Germany.
I mean, I'm sure Greece would like some investment money too.
Of course. if you're gonna throw it away, why not Greece? Janis, you're awesome. I really appreciate. I want to talk with you also tonight about a serious matter. You know about the bombings in Baghdad, that they aimed after the children first, and then they went after the older people in Baghdad with their bombings. But apparently, some are offended that the U.S. are sending weapons to the Kurds rather than to some that they would prefer those weapons going to in Iraq. And if you could tell us exactly what's going on with that particular situation.
Yes. So within the last, very new development, last 2-3 days, it basically looks as if we are sending weapons, so we don't know what kind, to the Kurds. And, I've said this before, I generally do not like just sending weapons to the Middle East.
Yep.
Whoever you are, I will say that of all the people that you could be sending weapons to the Middle East besides Israel, the Kurds are probably the best group to send weapons to. However, it's certainly going to piss off Turkey. I mean, at this point, I'm not entirely sure if that matters a whole lot, but oh well.
Yeah.
And I'm not entirely sure that yes, sending them weapons would probably be helpful, but I still don't know how much they'll be able to accomplish, even with more ammunition.
Exactly. We've done it before. We provided weapons for the Kurds, and in some instances, they have created strongholds and have held property and territory in northern Iraq. And in some instances, near the Syrian border, they've garnered the reputation of taking one to the back, since they were more willing to run than actually shoot. And so I understand it's a 50-50 kind of proposition, but that's about as high as you're going to get for that particular region. In addition to that, Turkey is in the midst of a civil war, which hasn't been announced, but we saw that in Washington D.C. They were actually fighting against one another in the upper Massachusetts area near the embassies, where Erdogan was in town, his troops versus protesters. So they're in the midst of a civil war. Syria is in the midst of several civil wars. Iraq is in the midst of a battle with the Kurds over who's going to take over northern Iraq. I mean, really, the only person I feel safe with is Israel. I just, am I wrong?
Yeah. And no, you're not wrong. And that's pretty much going to be the case. I mean, Israel is essentially the only safe bet in the Middle East. I will say that the expectation for sending weapons to the Middle East is a really low bar. I think that we can almost call it a success so long as the weapons don't come back to kill us. Right? So I think sending them to the Kurds, if they're not able to do anything with ISIS, okay. but so long as they don't start attacking our people, I think we might be able to put that in the win column.
Now, this is my curiosity. Are they going to use those weapons to fight ISIS, or are they going to hang a right towards Turkey?
I imagine it's probably going to be a bit of both.
A bit of both. See, that's what I'm thinking too. That's really what I'm thinking too. Everyone knows that John McCain supported arming ISIS before they became ISIS because he thought he had picked the right one, baby. And then you have the Kurds who are saying that we want to fight ISIS, but at the same time they have some matters that they want to deal with Erdogan. So that area, I'm just not comfortable giving anybody anything. Not even food. They might use that as a weapon too.
It's true. It's definitely true. I personally would not be sending weapons to that region at all.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do it, okay, perhaps the Kurds are the best, but I still wouldn't. If I was making decisions, I wouldn't be sending weapons down there.
So we got.
I mean, they already have plenty.
Exactly. We already have an administration now who's throwing a dart at the board, see if it'll work. I'm not comfortable with that. Just not. Black Feminist Festival. In the last 2 minutes of our program, as much time as I want to spend on the Black Feminist Festival. What is the Black Feminist Festival?
Well, there's a Black Feminist Festival going to be happening in Paris. It got some attention because they wanted to essentially exclude everyone who wasn't Black in some regions as part of some locations of their festival. The mayor of Paris didn't like this idea and said that, this should be stopped if that's indeed the case. They seem to have come to a general agreement that any essentially public property, they essentially can't be racist. But on private property, they can. Essentially, then they can control who comes in and who doesn't. And I think that that's fine. Mm-hmm. I don't have any technical problems with that. I think that it's unfortunate that it's happening. Right.
And I'm quite certain that these Black feminists will be the same ones saying that there's racism in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one way to fight it. Janis Hall, the J Hall World Report. We love you dearly. Thank you so much for being on the air with us tonight.
Thank you.
Wow. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to let you know. I don't know how you can believe in your heart of hearts that you can fight racism with racism. You can't divide that way. They don't negate one another. They create their own issues. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk with you about some of the other things that are happening around the world. I want to thank again Travis Witt for being with us and Janis Hall. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in and listening to us. You don't have to, yet you choose to, and I am ever thankful for you doing so. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We'll be right back.
Hello, this is Leslie Ann Stoffel with The Real Clear Israel. Join me every Sunday morning at 10:05 Eastern Time on the Exceptional Conservative Network, where we'll be discussing Israel with guests from Israel and around the world.
That's The Real Clear Israel, 10:05 Sunday on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
Tune in on Mondays and Fridays at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to the new Now Equipped with Wisdom with Randy and April Perm, as they bring you a variety of topics from politics, social issues, and everything in between. Once again, that's Mondays and Fridays, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the new Now Equipped with Wisdom, only on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
The best late night conservative talk show in America, TECS Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than TECN Sean and TECN Clanton. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late night conservative talk, TECS Radio. The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever.
Featuring right thinking from the left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
The greatest advertisers in all of the world are on the Exceptional Conservative Show and the Exceptional Conservative Network. Buy their products and share their good news. Go to theexceptionalconservativeshow.com right now. We'll be back after these messages. Our amazing hosts at the Exceptional Conservative Network broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. However, sometimes they get lonely. Be the solution for HLS, post loneliness syndrome. Join us for advice, delightful conversation, and debate in the world's best forum, the Euro Pacific Bank TECN chat room. Go to theexceptionalconservativeshow.com right now. Join us in chat by clicking on the TECS tab, Bible study tab, or TECN tabs. The host you'll save makes TECN amazing. We'll be back after these messages.
Begin your mornings the right way with some right thinking from me, Perry Drake, your friendly neighborhood drive-by pundit. I want you to join me every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern and 9 a.m. Central Time on the Exceptional Conservative Network. From politics to pop culture to relationships to whatever else is on your mind, we have a great deal to talk about. Join in and let's get the talking started.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe from the Reaver Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We certainly are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism. I am so looking forward to July 2nd. So many changes that are coming. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk with you real quick, just real quick, about the simple fact that there is the concern over missile defense tests in North Korea. there are those who believe that China is trying to stop North Korea. Really. I know, no, seriously. Seriously. And I want to explain some things to you regarding this particular scenario and situation, because a lot of people, as they're preaching Russia, 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 are making a point that China and Russia are compatible enemies to us. And I want you to understand something. Remember Patton? And Patton was in charge of the Third Army, and he loved tanks, and he loved war in the sense of strategic strength. And they asked Patton, "Aren't you ready to go home now since you've beaten the Nazis?" And Patton said, "We're not finished yet. We should buckle up and go on up the road and take care of the commies." Now, that got into a lot of problems with Franklin Delano Roosevelt and others during that time period who were at war. They wanted peace and compromise. When Patton saw enemy and weakness, he saw the Russians and knew that we could have taken them and could have beaten them then. There were others on the Asian flank when they were fighting the Japanese who understood that these guys are weak and we could take them. I want you to understand, and this is why I love Janis Hall in the J. Hall World Report. We were talking a year and a half ago, maybe, we were talking about them getting their first real naval airship. Forgive the terminology. It escapes me in this late hour. They were getting their first one. This is China now. And China was creating all these islands that they were going to fundamentally deploy military forces and arms upon, thus taking up the South China Sea and thus claiming more ties to land, or at least territory that was closer to Japan and the Philippines and Taiwan. But they were only doing that because our attentions were on Al Qaeda, ISIS, Afghanistan, and other places around the world. And so, and also at the same time, we were, girl fighting with our hands with Russia over Crimea in Ukraine. Stop. And the truth of the matter is that China's Navy could not stand against us in war. The only thing that they have in comparison to us would be nuclear arms. And I want you all to understand something. Even with all the cutbacks in nuclear arms that were agreed to, there are more nuclear arms in America than any other place in all of the world. We could literally get rid of the world about 8 to 10 times over if we really wanted to. But we don't really want to. Literally, there is not a military that can come against us except for the leftist, Marxist, socialist pens of lawyers here that corrupt us to try to create equality amongst guerrilla forces, which are not nation states, and ourselves. So literally tonight, when we have North Korea that's testing missiles, who can thank China for the hardcore fuselage equipment that was given to them, and they can thank Iran for the missile heads that were given to them. But apparently they can't thank Dell or Hewlett Packard for giving the trajectories that they need to actually make those missiles work. So, okay. Literally, China doesn't want the U.S. fighting North Korea because they know how it's going to go down. It will go down. It will go down quickly. It will be boom, boom, boom. And North Korea and South Korea will be joined together under the arms of South Korea. Well, it would be a new Korea, but it would be one not of communist distinction, but one of capitalistic distinction. They don't want that near them. Okay, it's kind of like the bad girl who moves into your neighborhood. You hope she moved about 18 doors down from you because you don't want her near your house where your good good boys are. You don't, because there will be enticements. Literally, the communists, the people who have been starved to death in North Korea, would love to embrace capitalism and all of the greatness that comes with that, including being a republic, freedom and private property. China doesn't want that happening so close to their borders because they already have Hong Kong. They already have Taiwan. They certainly don't want to face a united Korea that's free. And Russia doesn't want to face us either. Oh, sure, we don't want to fight between us, of course, but literally, I don't believe that they want to fight us. So literally, here we go. If Little Kim continues his efforts to unsettle Asia, the U.S. will have to respond. They will have to respond because our friend Japan is there. Our friend Taiwan is there. And most importantly, their missiles, if accurately shot with great trajectory, could hit Alaska. They are a national threat. We would wipe them off the face of the map if we wanted to. So this is why I know that China is working behind the scenes to try to squash Little Kim. But I want you all to know one thing. A madman rarely listens to good advice when he has taken up his own plans for world domination. He really believes he can get within a shot of harassing our nation. It behooves us to make certain that our commander-in-chief doesn't allow him to do so. Now, do we want to bully North Korea? No, not at all. Would we prefer if everybody walked away and North Korea would come to its senses and say, let it be, let it be? Yeah, well, sure we would. But I'm just letting the good people of Asia and you all tune in and you listen to us. I'm just letting you all know. We're not afraid of China. We're not afraid of Russia. And let's just say eliminating North Korea as a threat would be as quick as bagging your groceries at the local Quickie Mart and going home. We're not playing, Korea. We're not. We'll be right back with more of the best. And ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you, make sure that you stay tuned at 11:05 p.m. Certainly, Berserk Bobcat Saloon is on your radar.
Hi, my name is Willie Lawson of The Willie Lawson Show here on the Exceptional Conservative Network, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. They told me that I needed to be humble, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I decided to be awesome instead. That's The Willie Lawson Show, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. here on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America, one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have truly, truly adored and enjoyed being on the air with you all tonight. Wonderful conversation we had with Travis Witt. I want you all to get in contact with him at Transformation America Company. And most certainly order the book. My God. Yeah. I mean, we want to be ahead in this game. I'm going to let you all know right now as I get ready to transfer our showtime over to the great Sir Mark the Bloviating Zeppelin from bloviatingzeppelin.net. We are politically at war with not only the Democrats that boldly come out of the cupboards like roaches, but against the moderate, the Tuesday Republicans that come out against us. I will all encourage you for the rest of the summer. You know my game plan. I want you to make certain that you get the most conservative people together. Start raising money for them so that we can win next year. So that in 2018, we take back our country. It's not going to be done with the moderates and the liberals. It's going to be done with the conservatives. God bless you. And God bless the USA. I want you to always remember this. America, God bless America. It's time now for America to bless God. We'll see you tomorrow night.